is MMA effective for self-defense? The answer is yes and no. Training in mixed martial arts gives you a definite advantage over someone who is untrained when it comes down to protecting yourself in a life or death struggle. However, there are many, many factors that aren't covered in the typical MMA fighter's training that will come up in street self-defense scenarios. And so, training in mixed martial arts is not a perfect solution for self-defense. The main things that you need to think of are, in a self-defense situation, nobody's ever going to look at you and say, well, you're about my size and look like you could put up a strong fight, so I'll go ahead and try and steal your wallet. Nor will they announce their intentions. What's more likely to happen is somebody will jump you by surprise, somebody will jump you with friends, somebody will jump you while having a weapon in play, somebody will jump you while on something that makes them unpredictable and immune to certain effects like pain and, say, broken bones to stop them. So, when you think of self-defense in those scenarios, sport fighting has some definite issues. Additionally, many people when they strike are used to striking with gloves on, even the 4-ounce padded gloves, which offer a significant amount of protection for the bones of your hand. And really, if you're striking someone in the head, there's only a few places you can hit them where you're going to do more damage to them than you are to your hand. And so you actually need to be a pretty skilled striker if you're going to strike with the fists. So those are the issues. The positives: MMA training will definitely give you the conditioning to outlast just about anybody in a fight. MMA training will cover the vast majority of scenarios that you'll run into with those few holes that we mentioned. MMA training will also give you the conditioning and familiarity with fight level intensity. So there are many, many strong suits and a few holes that need to be filled. So if you're training in MMA for self-defense, make sure that you're training somewhere where you can identify what's going to be different between sport fighting and life and death self-defense fighting. And when you're sparring, get familiar with scenarios such as group combat. How do you deal with more than one opponent? Or weapon versus unarmed? Or on the ground with a weapon in play versus unarmed? Also, look at improvising weapons from nearby materials. Kali and Eskrima are excellent art for understanding angles of attack and defense that can be applied with any weapon that happens to be at hand. So training in multiple disciplines like this, and disciplines specifically focused on street self-defense, will diversify the MMA fighter's game to take their strengths that they already have, as we already mentioned, the conditioning, the fight level intensity, the familiarity with many different ranges of combat, and fill in the holes that are missing. When you train that way, you've really got a diverse skill set, you're as prepared as possible for any self-defense situation, and you've tipped the scales, the odds, as far in your favor as it's possible to tip them. Never walk around totally confident that you can take on anybody. That's not a smart move. You want to have the awareness of the situation and always look on how you're going to control it, what are your exits, and who all might be a threat. Because remember, in any self-defense scenario, there's not just the tactics of the fight, but there's the strategy of the situation. You want to know how many combatants are in play, what tools you might run into, what hazards there are in the environment, and be ready to deal with all of those factors. So that's just to give you an idea of the scope of what's involved in legitimate self-defense training and how to incorporate your MMA or mixed martial arts training into it and fill in the holes that are missing in that, and really make sure that you've got a solid, practical self-defense skill set. Hopefully that was beneficial to you. If you have any questions about it, shoot us a message in the comments and we'll be happy to follow up in a further video.